Hi, I'm Dr. Bertice Berry, and I really feel like I need to tell you this story. I'm going to try to do it quickly, but it's a difficult story to tell. I had been in the discernment process for the diaconate and discerning in the Episcopal Church to become a deacon. And you start with you do it with your rector and then your bishop, and then you go to a committee of folks, and together you discern as a community about whether or not this is the work for you to do, and whether or not which of your paths, which of your ministries you're going to follow, because before you can discern ordination to be into the diaconate, you need to already be doing some deaconly things, some some things that look like you're a deacon. So I had about probably, I don't know, 10 different areas that I served in, and not official things, but work that I had just been doing on my own, paying for, just doing because I felt called to do it. And so I had shared about the story thing that started in the pandemic and how it was, and it was reaching out to people. And so there was one woman, she was rocking, she had her eyes closed, and I was like, ooh, I love how the Holy Spirit works in this church. And she's just sitting there and she said, I really feel like there's something about this whole story thing. And to me, as a sociologist, it was the thing that was least operationalizable, or I couldn't operationalize it as easily. I couldn't create a strategy and operationalize it into some kind of research or something. I couldn't see that with it. It was story. But years before, probably about 20, 25 years ago, a woman named Ruth Stricker had funded a study through Mayo, their complementary health division, to study the impact of loneliness on health. And they found 25 years ago that loneliness was going to be the major health crisis that it is today. And now it is the biggest impact on health more than anything else, loneliness. But she knew that then. And I remember then saying, well, we're going to need to find some ways. And as a sociologist, that should be something I'm looking at. And also how to bring people together beyond these divides. Anyway, so she says, I feel like it's a story thing. And I was like, oh, okay. Okay. So that night I came home and I was still praying as I was driving, praying and thinking about it. And I got a message from a woman who, it was a long message saying that I had to know from her what the story sharing was doing for her and how it was opening up pieces of her past that she hadn't reckoned with, that she needed to understand, that she needed to see. And that night, it was the thing that solidified this for me. And the woman's name is Joanne Jones. And Joanne Jones now has wonderful connections and beautiful. You see her with, out with her best buddy, AIDS activist, young black AIDS HIV activist. And there's Joanne Jones, white woman around my age, a little bit older maybe, who, and the two of them together are peas in a pod. And it just makes sense that story would do that, because story, we are naturally wired for narrative. And when we share with one another, you quickly go deep and you quickly connect. And I've done the research and I've looked at it and I've studied it deeply and I see how it works. So there's a woman who was in Missouri. She was a priest in the Episcopal Church in Missouri. She had adopted children from all around the world, done all kinds of stuff. And she was working beyond, a little bit beyond, now I know is a little bit more than I thought, a little bit beyond her retirement age, because nobody else was going to come there and she didn't feel like she could leave it. And so there's another woman who's a Pentecostal preacher in Littletown in Georgia who grew up without a mother and felt this loneliness. And the two of them are seeing each other's stories and feeling a connection. The priest in Missouri throws a birthday party for every year this woman had not had a mother in her life, and people come and they share, and those who couldn't come shared in the gifting of this, and they become connected as mother and daughter, but one black, one white, in these two different parts of the country. And so when the woman, I shared a story one day about what you deserve, and the woman who is this priest in Missouri, she writes back and she writes to me and goes, I don't know about this story. I don't feel like we should deserve. What do you mean getting what we deserve? What do we deserve? I mean, come on. And I was like, she's not refuting this. This is something in her soul that's telling her She doesn't deserve to retire, to have peace, to have joy. And so I kind of went back and forth with her a little bit, and I began to pray. And I prayed for her that her heart's desires and all that she had put into the world would come to her. And I have a prayer list, I like that one of those old ladies with Bibles, my prayer book, my notes and my Bible and praying and the list and the things. So the woman who she had mothered through this party in Georgia, little town, both of them from these little towns, had a house that she thought she was going to demolish, found out it had great bones. So she said, I can renovate this and I'm going to give it to my new mom. And I'm going to tell her she needs to move down here and retire. And this is her new house. And it is the craziest thing in the world to think that getting up in the morning and sharing a story can bring people together in a way that they see God's love. My stories are not for my vanity. The stories about history and culture and life are not because I think I know more than you do. They are to awaken in you the stories that you have forgotten, to allow you to connect to the life, to the love that God has always meant for you. I hope you see this as a bigger thing. And if you don't, if you can't feel it, if you can't see it, I get that. But that's because you're disconnected to the stories within. I don't need to prove how smart I am. Somebody conferred a PhD on me, a doctorate degree, when I was just 26. I'm not trying to be famous. I've been famous. I don't like it. It costs too much money and it costs too much to your soul. I don't like it. I'm not trying to win the most of anything. Every time I'm provided an opportunity to do so, I remind folks that this is a ministry and I'm not trying to mess with it. What I hope you see, what I hope you feel with each of these stories is that I love you, and I love you because God does. I love you.